Hello, viewers, and a very warm welcome to our special program on the upcoming Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Summit from the vibrant heart of Tianjin Port. I am Mushahid Hussain Sayed from Pakistan. Ever since the SCO was established over 20 years ago, Tianjin Port has been the golden channel connecting various countries of the SCO and beyond. And we are at the starting point of the Tianjin Port to explore how this port serves to promote connectivity and a shared prosperity among the Shanghai Cooperation Organization members. And today, we are very honored to have a very diverse and distinguished panel of experts from different SCO countries. Starting with Professor Victor Gao, Vice President of the Center for China and Globalization. To his left is Professor Irina Sarenko from the Russian Academy of Sciences. And to her left is Mr. Mohammad Saqib from India, who is the chairman of the Center of Geoeconomics for the Global South. And finally, flanking him on the left is Professor Mohammad Marandi from the Tehran University. A very warm welcome to you. And before I start with these distinguished guests, I would first like to invite the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Foreign Minister also, His Excellency Ishaq Dar, to make his keynote remarks.
Hello viewers, greetings from Pakistan. I am delighted to address the viewers of CGTN and its flagship program, Global South Voices, which highlights perspectives from the Global South, where both Pakistan and China stand as key partners. The bond between Pakistan and China, our valued neighbor, is one of lasting friendship strengthened over time as true iron brothers. I take pride in having contributed to this remarkable relationship in different capacities. More than a decade ago, as Pakistan Finance Minister, I contributed to laying the groundwork for the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, a cornerstone of President Xi Jinping's Belt and Road Initiative. CPEC has since become a transformative force for Pakistan's socio-economic development, opening new avenues of growth and opportunity nationwide. Under the leadership of President Xi Jinping, China has not only spearheaded the Belt and Road Initiative, but also advanced key global undertakings such as Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative. These visionary efforts align closely with Pakistan's own aspirations and enjoy our steadfast support. I also deeply value my warm and cordial association with my esteemed counterpart, His Excellency Mr. Wang Yi, the Foreign Minister of China. Pakistan and China are also partners in the SCO. I'm looking forward to participating in the forthcoming SCO Summit, which is being hosted by China in the beautiful port city of Tianjin. Although Pakistan is a relatively recent member of the SCO, it has assumed an active and forward-looking role in advancing the organization's vision. The SCO provides a crucial platform for enhancing connectivity and cooperation across Eurasia, with collaboration extending to vital areas such as trade, energy, education, infrastructure, culture, and tourism. Its importance is even more pronounced in today's complex global environment, where the SCO stands as a pillar of stability and a driver of progress. The role of the SCO has gained remarkable importance for several reasons. Firstly, in what is widely regarded as the Asian century, the SCO stands as a vital pillar of cooperation, coordination, and connectivity among the nations of Asia, the most dynamic continent in today's world. Secondly, in these challenging times, with conflicts unfolding across Asia, Middle East, and Europe, it is imperative to uphold international law, the principles of the UN and the SCO charters, and to advance the Shanghai spirit. This spirit embodies mutual trust, shared benefit, equality, respect for diverse civilizations, and a collective pursuit of common development. And finally, the SCO serves as a vital bridge uniting China, Russia, South Asia, and Central Asia in a shared commitment to peace, progress, and prosperity. As we enter a transformative phase in international relations, we are witnessing the rise of a multipolar and interconnected world, one that calls for a multilateral approach to effectively address common challenges and harness shared opportunities. In this setting, the SCO's crucial role in our region stands out as a powerful driver of unity and progress. I wish to convey my profound appreciation for China's leadership within the SCO. China has consistently engaged all member states with a view to fostering economic cooperation and diplomatic understanding. I would also like to thank CGTN for providing me with this opportunity to present the perspective of Pakistan to a global audience. Thank you and all the best for the future.
Thank you, Mr. Dar, for your very thoughtful remarks. As we sit here today at the Tianjin Port, this is quite a unique port where you can see smart automation and AI-driven analytics. And we also see a green port driven by zero carbon, and which is powering clean electricity. And this port is also connecting China with not just the SCO, but the rest of the world. And a key element of this port, which we have just seen, is automation. Professor Victor Gao, automation means speed. And we have seen that whether it's Chilean cherries, Peruvian blueberries, Ecuadorian shrimp, and Brazilian beef, coming all the way straight to dining tables in China, thanks to this connectivity. How has this automation changed China's linkages with the outside world, especially with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization countries?
You talked about automation. Now we saw with our own eyes that most of the trucks are automated, robotics, and they do not need to be driven by human beings. Now this really contributes to not only efficiency, but also accuracy. This port can operate 7 days a week and 24 hours a day, in daytime as well as at night, with no human involvement. So who is behind all this automation? It is AI. It is the very sophisticated cyberspace connecting all the containers, all the goods, all the items in the containers with the destinations. And you are talking about one container ship with tens of thousands of containers, maybe destined for different ports in different parts of the world. I think China has really achieved high level of excellency, and we want to achieve the same level of excellence with other countries in the world, making sure that automation, AI, and cybersecurity, all these elements can be really applied to all the members of the SCO organization, all the countries in the global south, and directly or indirectly, all the people in the world. Defense free trade. The fact that we are gathered here in Tianjin Port is very meaningful because we want to make sure that free trade in the world will be defended at any cost, and no country should really mess around with free trade, because free trade delivers goods for all the countries in the global south as well as in the developed world. I think by defending free trade, ironically, we also defend the fundamental interest of the American people, because I do not believe the American people want to walk away from free trade. So we are gathered here to do one of the most important things in modern history, defending free trade.
Mr. Saqib, you've seen the Tianjin Port, and it boasts 147 container routes that connect land and sea. And it's China, Mongolia, Russia, cross-border sea and land corridor. Also is now part of the National Multimodal Transportation Network. project, demonstration project. So in this context, how do you view the role of Tianjin Port in promoting geoeconomics connectivity, since you had the first think tank on geoeconomics in the Global South?
I think Tianjin Port is one of the very important port for the global south, not of the whole the global south, but if I take it from the Indian point of view, I think so far Tianjin Port has been a case study for Indian ports because we have priority of developing ports. Export is, development is one of the areas where India is focusing, and the Tianjin Port is a case study for us. That with the recent tariffs by this Trump tariff, they call it, which are coming, I think, because we are seeing that there could be some displacement of our exports to America. So maybe we will be looking for more market in the Southeast Asia or Central Asia, and where we will be using Tianjin port. So I think for Global South, this is a very, very important point.
We also see that the SCO has now evolved from a security organization to one that is promoting economy. And in economy, the role of transportation has become pivotal. And here, the role of Tianjin Port becomes so paramount. And in this context, Professor Marandi, because you come from Iran, which is also a seafaring nation, we see that there has been a change and evolution in the role of SCO. According to the Chinese customs data, when it started off, the contribution of SCO was 5.4% of global trade. And by 2020, it became 17.5% of global trade. And the Shanghai Cooperation Organization member countries today comprise 44% of the world's population. Given this context, the role of transportation and its importance of the SCO in the context of Global South development.
I think it's known to all that the rise of Asia is an issue that will impact the global economy increasingly in the coming decades. And of course, when you have more economic clout, you also have security issues. And therefore, the SCO has to play a role both in developing connectivity, but also preserving security to maintain connectivity. And there are malign actors who would like to see Asia fail and to see chaos in Asia. We've seen how those actors have behaved across the world. And so this organization is key, both in coordinating efforts among world leaders, Asian leaders in particular, in the field of connectivity, but also economic cooperation, but also preserving security across Asia. We've seen how terrorist organizations that have been trained, developed, created by intelligence agencies outside of Asia for the most part, how they have posed a threat. And this is something that these countries, these governments, by working together, they can prevent from growing, becoming a menace, and thus preserving economic prosperity. Because I think that's the key. We want economic prosperity for people across the globe and for a fairer system. And the SCO, I think, plays a very key role in bringing that about.
Thank you. Professor Victor Gao, earlier you talked about the role of free trade. But we also see an approach coming from Western countries. Small yard, high fences they talk about, and they try to curtail the right of development of Global South countries, not just China, but other countries. How do you see the role of SCO in warding off this threat to free trade and promoting the inalienable right to development of Global South countries, particularly the Shanghai Cooperation Organization members?
Thank you, Senator. I think the United States now is really waging war on free trade. It is launching this anti-China tariff war, anti-the world tariff war, and more recently, President Trump puts tremendous amount of pressure on a great country like India. And I don't think eventually it will work because free trade is in everyone's interest. So I think from the SCO's perspective, we really need to focus on several things. One is that within the SCO members, we should actually encourage energy security between and among all the SCO members. Within SCO, we have big energy producing countries like Russia, like Iran, etc. We have a huge energy consuming country like China, which also happens to be a major energy producing country. So I think we can really align our demand and supply in a more rational way. So whatever that will happen in the world, within SCO, we will have alignment of our interests. Now, the second thing I want to emphasize is that China now is a leading nation for AI development. And I've been quoted by saying AI does not mean American intelligence. AI should be artificial intelligence for the benefit of all the countries, including all countries in the global south. That means within SCO, we should really focus on coming up with same standards, for example, methodologies. And the way China's promoting AI development is completely open sourced, very different from the American way of developing AI, which is more or less a closed sourced AI development aimed at building up so-called American dominance in AI. I don't think the SCO should buy into this so-called US dominance in AI, and Global South should really be very wary about the so-called AI dominance by any country in the world. We should really create this open-sourced AI for the benefit of all countries. And I want to alert all members in the SCO, beware of this AI divide, which I coined. We do not want to find ourselves on the wrong side of the AI divide. We want to be fully participating in this AI revolution. No one should be left behind. None of the SCO members should be left behind in the wild, in the cold. And that means that we really need to cooperate with each other. We not only need to cooperate within SCO, but also within the BRI initiative member states, as well as with all the countries in the Global South, and ironically, with all the developed countries. If they want to really create two parallel universes, AI 1 versus AI 2, eventually it will not work. I think the AI future is an integrated way of open-sourced development for the benefit of all countries.
I think that's a very good point, Professor Victor Gao, because you brought out the sharp differences between the vision and worldview of certain Western countries, including the US, vis-a-vis the Global South and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And Professor Irina Sarenko, these differences are quite evident, not just in AI, artificial intelligence, but in some other areas. And some in the West view the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, with certain suspicion that it is anti-West or something of the sort. What is your take on that? How do you view that evolution and development of SCO?
Thank you for the question, and it is a very important issue for discussion. The thing is that SCO, it is a very efficient organization and platform for developing not only multilateral relations, but also bilateral relations. If we, for example, take Pakistan and Russia, historically, we had very up and downs, difficult and different periods in our bilateral relations. But thanks to the joining of Pakistan and as observer in 2005, and then as a full member in 2017 to these organizations, our relations, bilateral relations, changed for the better. And now we are partners. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization gave an opportunity for the countries to develop not only bilateral, to change their bilateral relations as SCO full members for the better, also to be included in the whole process of the developing Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So it's a very unique platform in the view of the developing Asia. As Asia Renaissance we see nowadays, and Asia has a great potential for the future.
Western countries are using different weapons, different tools, such as de-risking, to pressurize countries in the global south, China included, members of SCO included. So, Professor Marandi, how do you see that role and of the Western countries? And is the SCO playing a positive role to counter that and diminishing that so-called de-risking as they talk about?
Yes, I think the term de-risking is very misleading, and it is intentionally made to mislead or used to mislead. Basically, a number of countries do not want a more just global system, and they want to remain the dominant powers. So those rising powers across the global south, which include countries in Latin America and Africa as well as Asia, their rise is seen as a risk, as a threat, as a danger. And it shouldn't be seen that way. And in fact, if we look at how these countries are behaving today, just recently we saw a number of European leaders travel to the United States, and how they were sitting like school students in front of the President of the United States. But when you look at how the arrangements are at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, how world leaders sit around as equals. And I think that is basically what these people deem as a risk. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, as rightly pointed out, has a long way to go. But the very fact that these world leaders, in Asia in this case, sit together and talk and have dialogue and have sideline conversations on the side outside of the main hall, this leads to greater coordination and cooperation, and it helps build security. And the good thing about the SCO is that it's not directed against anyone. No one in the global south is trying to develop a NATO. No one in the global south is trying to develop an exclusive club like the EU. It is a club where everyone can join, and it is a club for which promotes security for all. So it's very different from the current models that exist in the West. And if anything, those are the models that are risky for the rest of the world. But this model, as well as similar models, whether regional or global like BRICS, they are inclusive, and they are for bringing about greater security and greater economic prosperity for those who've been denied security and prosperity for centuries in some cases.
So the key element is that the SCO is all about inclusivity, or what China always says, win-win cooperation. And China's role in the evolution of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has been extremely important, leading in innovation, in development, in deliberation mechanism, in cooperation mechanism, and in permanent institutional bodies. And Professor Victor Gao, I'd like to see how China's role has evolved and how China is balancing its role in terms of leadership with equality vis-a-vis the Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
Thank you, Senator. I think you raised a very important question. I still remember when SCO was founded with only 4 or 5 members, China's economy accounted for more than 50% of the SCO combined economy. However, I think China agreed with all the other members that all major decisions should be made on a consensus basis, which remains the principle for SCO. Some people may blame that this consensus principle makes decision-making less effective, less efficient. But I think this is how the member states of the SCO choose to run their organization based on consensus, meaning big or small, all countries should be treated as equal. And on that basis, I think we can really try our best to improve our efficiency. Now, as far as China is concerned, China today is the largest economy by purchasing power parity already. China is the largest trading nation in the world. China's manufacturing output is larger than the combined amount of the United States, Japan, Germany, South Korea, and quite a few others. And China's production of iron and steel is larger than the next 10 biggest steel makers combined together. I mention this just to show that by working together within SCO, with China as an equal member, not the biggest among the equals, no, just as equal as all the other SCO members, I hope all the other SCO members can really see that China is a resource for all the SCO members to try to fully utilize. And I think China's contribution in terms of scientific breakthrough, technological excellence, and innovation and creativity, and the relentless push to capture the forefront of the AI revolution will really bring benefits for all the other SCO members, and making sure that the Global South will have a bigger voice to make on major issues in the world. I see SCO as the most dynamic and vibrant organization in the world of today. I would not be surprised in a matter of years, membership of the SCO will be more than 20, if not 25, if not even more. More countries in different parts of the world will be eager to join SCO because this is a platform for them to make their voices known to mankind as a whole, for them to take a collective position on major issues in the world, for them not to be left behind in this very dynamic AI revolution. We all want to move forward in tandem, preferably, but at least get along with each other, understand each other better, and none of us will be found on the wrong side of the AI divide.
Thank you. And speaking about China, Professor Irina Sarenko, how do you feel that the role of SCO as a platform to promote initiatives of China that have become very popular worldwide, like the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, which is probably the biggest developmental and diplomatic initiative of the 21st century, or the Global Development Initiative? How do you see that role?
From the Russian side, I should tell you that SCO countries, member countries, should be each country should be the source of development for the SCO. It's just to add for some details about the SCO development. And I should also mention that Belt and Road Initiative, it was the Chinese initiative, but from Russia's side, we also have an initiative of developing Eurasian Economic Union, and all these two initiatives, they are in conjunction and shared interests. And we know the more initiatives we have of the countries belonging to the SCO, the better we will have not only in security but also in an economy. So I think that really, as for the SCO organization and member states, I can fully agree with the professor that certainly the future is very bright for this organization because really countries looking on the efficiency of this organization and different countries which are nowadays observers or they wanted to join the SCO, they see the bright future of this organization.
Thank you. There are some critics or skeptics, shall we say, who feel that there are competing goals or competing interests in terms of members of the SCO. So, Mr. Saqib, how do you feel that sometimes the divergent interests of member countries, can they impede cooperation among the SCO? What is your take on that?
I think if you look at and this is most of it is the propaganda by the West. That China, whatever China does is wrong and it is to create influence of its own. But I think if China wanted, if China was another America, the China would invaded, I think, all the countries around it, but China has never done that. So probably we are victim of huge Western propaganda against China. And out of that, some of the democracy and the neighbors of China, because of the democracy and misperception created among the public, the governments have to act like they are against China, or they want to support that kind of a system, which does not. And I think in the new multipolarity or new poles, China is far ahead than anybody else. So there will be jealousy, there will be competition, there will be issues and all. But I think China, the way it is, with this humility and concern about the other developing countries, they will come over it.
I think that's a very important point in a contemporary international relations, that when we talk of China's role, China's peaceful rise or peaceful development without invasion, without occupation, without colonization, without aggression, is in sharp contrast to the track record of Western countries. And in this regard, I would like to ask Professor Marandi that China's role in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, if you compare the Western organizations, the NATO or G7, how do you compare and contrast that? Because there is a distinct and sharpness in the differences in approach, in substance, in policies of China and these Western countries.
Well, at least in the case of Iran, I think it's pretty clear that the Persian Empire and the Chinese Empire were neighbors, and they worked and did business together and trade together for thousands of years, but we don't have an instance of war taking place between Iran and China. After all these thousands of years, it's always been peace and peacefulness that has dominated the relationship. There have been ups and downs because of the rises and declines and weaknesses and strengths, but it's always been peaceful. Whereas in the case of the West, I think it's pretty clear that the West has a history of domination, genocide, ethnic cleansing, which continues until today. So that is a key difference. And I think one reason why the European Union was actually created was because Europe was so violent and they were constantly at war with another in the West, that they created this union to end the wars. But it actually went, I think, too far, because these different countries also gave up their sovereignty. So this is, I think, something that's actually very good about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, even though it needs to evolve, and it needs to meet the needs, and it has to have teeth to make it effective. But it is also an organization which preserves the sovereignty of individual countries, unlike the EU. But at the same time, it creates an environment for cooperation. So it is dynamic, and it allows member countries to continue to develop their countries based on their own indigenous needs. So really, the comparison between the West and Shanghai Cooperation Organization countries is not a very good idea for Western elites to use in order to, let's say, diminish member states of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, because, as I said, their history is much more peaceful, whereas the history of the West is highly problematic, to say the least.
Thank you very much for a very instructive and informative discussion. But before we wrap up, we have some very important voices in the audience that we would like to hear. And these are voices of students who are present. And we'd like to ask the students that if they have any questions from any of the panelists, please raise your hands. Identify yourself by name and country and ask your question directly and simply. Yes, please.
My question is, how can the SCO create more opportunities for youth exchanges, scholarship, or internship among member states?
Oh, thank you. What about Professor Irina Sarenko? There's a question from this Russian student.
Yes, I understand, and today our show discussion is just an example how important the use of SCO countries matters for our joint organization. And we know that there is SCO University. It is possible to use online or offline nowadays possibilities for exchange of students and scholarships. Of course, we should make much more easier to get visas, studying visas for our students. I think that there are prospects for our youth to have a kind of a union university for all participants of our organization. I think that everybody is interested in this field for developing.
Thank you. Yes, Professor Victor Gao, you have.
Sophia, I think you are raising a very important question. A couple of things we can think about. First of all, I would recommend that SCO members would have designated universities recognizing and acknowledging each other. For example, if you are studying at Tianda in Tianjin, your academic records, achievements can be recognized by other
important.
SCO
Yes, you're right,
countries
yeah.
and other universities, and free exchange of such students should be very much encouraged. That's number one. Number two is that scholarships should really be very much encouraged, not only from government grants, but also from private participation. I'm pretty sure in your example, for example, being a Russian, educated in Russia and now being educated in China, I think you can make great contribution to closer China-Russian cooperation, as well as cooperation among all the SCO members. So I think the future is very bright, well charted, and I think the whole society of all the SCO members should really pitch in to make sure that the students who are exchanged between SCO member states, etc., will have a better charted course and career path in the future, making sure that they all become ambassadors of different SCO countries to the others, and then they can have very meaningful, very successful career for the rest of their life. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Muskan Saif Khan. I belong from a beautiful country, Pakistan. I am a PhD scholar at Tianjin University. I want to ask a question like, with increasing geopolitical issues globally, how SCO countries can work together to ensure peace and stability in the region without becoming entangled at high-power rivalries?
Who will take this question? Professor Marandi?
Yeah, I think that actually that's the reason why the organization was created, because we have these challenges. It's a very good question, a very valid question. And it sort of, I think, in a sense, complements the previous question as well, that the more exchanges we have, it's very, I think, important that we see students from different countries of the SCO here today studying in China. We have students doing the same in other member states. And this itself is a step in integration. Not integration which takes away sovereignty, but integration where you have greater understanding, greater cooperation, where interests of the different member states all are in greater collaboration.
Thank you very much. Yes. Other questions?
Hello, I'm Stefan from Sri Lanka. So China promotes initiatives like Belt and Road and global development initiatives through SCO. So how can the youth people from developing countries get directly involved or get benefits from these projects?
Thank you. Mr. Saqib, would you like to respond to that? How can young people benefit from these initiatives that have come within the framework of SCO and other global initiatives like the Global Development Initiative and the BRI?
Yeah, I think This is what China is doing now. This is all for the youth people, and this is for people like you. BRI is one of the most important project, and not only BRI. China has taken number of initiatives which are not so well known, like Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, the BRI, and so many others, where you have lot of opportunities. And for you as the students of Tianjin University or people who are studying in China, and you are very lucky that you are in China at the right time for the right future.
Okay, one last question from the audience.
Hello to Your Excellency. My name is Amit Olamai. I'm from Iran, a name that evokes great scientists and engineers for the enduring contributions to Asia's knowledge and science. My question is, what role do you see for international students in shaping the future of SCO's cooperation beyond the academic exchange? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Professor Marandi?
Beyond,
Beyond the academic exchange, like student exchange.
I think that the SCO is still in its early years, and it hasn't been developed as far as it should, as my colleagues have pointed out. And therefore, there is a lot to do. One is building institutions, not bureaucracies, but institutions that enable cooperation at different levels. Academic exchanges would be one such means of cooperation, which they do ultimately lead to other forms of cooperation, because when you come here and you find friends from Russia, from Sri Lanka, from Myanmar, from Iran, and the other young students that we see here today from different countries, from Pakistan, these provide opportunities in future. They're business opportunities that grow as a result of your friendships that develop at university. And therefore, the institutionalization of this cooperation, academic cooperation, goes far beyond academia. But I think that it also includes cooperation in AI, cooperation in trade, allowing ports to facilitate greater trade, developing routes which are inclusive to member states, where growth across the SCO and beyond is balanced, where some countries are not left behind. I think there's huge opportunity for the SCO that goes beyond academia. But at the end of the day, it is students like yourselves who are going to be able to achieve all of this, whether you are academics tomorrow, or you're businessmen and women, or you are in the judiciary or any other area. It is you who are going to devise the means for cooperation and enhancing the lives of your own people, whether it's individual rights, whether it's collective rights, whether it is regional and global cooperation. It's really going to be in the hands of people like yourselves.
Thank you so much to our student participants for their very insightful questions. And they have really added their curiosity, has provided energy to this very important conversation that we've had. Thank you so much. And before we conclude today's program, I'd like to ask our distinguished participants to give their final thoughts, very briefly, one sentence each, on what do they think is important to promote SCO cooperation in the context of the Global South. Professor Victor Gao first.
I hope the SCO summit here in Tianjin will be a huge success, and the SCO's future will be brighter and more robust, because the world needs a more successful SCO.
Thank you. Professor Irina Sarenko.
I think that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization proved to be a very efficient platform for attainment regional security and stability, stable development of all belonging to it countries. And as SCO members are equal members, you know that after summit here in Peking, or here at this smart city, there will be another summit of the head of governments in Russia, and it will be the change of chair of the SCO organization, and you are welcome, I mean all the members of Shanghai organization in Moscow.
Thank you. Mr. Saqib?
I think SCO is a very, very important organization for the Global South, and I think there are some more initiative have to be taken for the contribution to the Global South.
Thank you. Professor Marandi.
I think that the SCO has to contribute to justice and equality, where no nation is marginalized and no one is left behind. If this can be done at the regional level, it will also contribute to the same across the globe. And hopefully your generation and future generations will be living in a much better world than the one that we're living in today, where people are being slaughtered in West Asia, and the West continues to support the slaughter and genocide.
Thank you very much, and many thanks to all our guests. And we reflected in depth on the vital role of the vibrant Tianjin Port and the role of China in fostering cooperation and promoting connectivity among the Eurasian members countries. And we also thank the audience for their participation. And with that, we come to the end of today's show. Stay tuned to Global South Voices. I am Mushahid Hussain Sayed, and the Global South Voices represents a perspective which is reflecting the views of the Global South, the world's majority. And you can also find us on CGTN app, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X. Till we meet again, thank you, viewers.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah.